In this video, I'll give a quick overview of some of the basic formatting features in Excel. This first row has been increased in height so that the larger text can be shown there. Increasing a row in height is as easy as going on the line between two rows, finding the double-headed arrow and dragging up or down. You can also double-click and it will make the row the perfect size for the contents. Columns act the same way. You just move between two of the letters, find the line, get the double-headed arrow and click and drag, or double click to resize, though that doesn't work perfectly in a case like this where I've got a large heading at the top. So I'm just going to undo that. Then you can do this to multiple rows or columns. So you could select all of these columns just by making sure you get the black downward pointing arrow. Then you would resize one of them and they would all adjust to the correct size. This error happens when there's not enough space for the contents of the cell. So I'm just going to reduce the size of that font so that it fits nicely. Then, of course, like in Word and other programs, you've got your bold, italics, underline, the usual sort of thing. Excel's got a double underline as well. And then you've got all your fonts and your font sizes and so on. Then we've got borders, shading, and text color. Text color is much the same as in Word. Shading is very similar to Word tables. And shading would apply to any cells that you select. So the active cell is the one in green. If I want to select more than one cell, I make sure that I have this white cross. That's a selection cross. And I click and drag to select all of these cells. And so I've selected from A1 to G1, indicated by the gray inside and the green outline. Then if I apply, for instance, a nice light blue color, then it applies to all of it. If I wanted to actually merge these cells so they're no longer an individual cell, then I would select here and use the merge and center option. You can still left align text if you prefer, but merge and center will automatically put in the middle, and that creates one large cell that acts as one entity. Then we've got some border options, and I might apply a border around all of this, for instance. And there's a whole bunch of basic border options. If you just say all borders, it will apply simple black lines around everything. You notice you can still see the cells with these gray grid lines. Those normally don't print, but you can set them to print, and we'll look at that when we do print options. Okay, so if I wanted to take this a step further beyond just some plain black lines, I could also add on a thick outside border, which, as you can see, adds a thick border around the edge. This dotted line is indicating the edge of the page. If you wanted to do something like just have a heavy line separating these two sections, you could look for some options there. And there's things like double bottom border, thick bottom border, top and bottom border, top and thick bottom border, etc. So I'll use this one with the thick bottom border, and that just gives me a bit of separation here. Then we have our alignment, which is normally left aligned for text, and you'll see numbers are automatically right aligned. You can't force them to have other alignments. We've also got our top, middle, and bottom alignments. Those are only really visible if you've got a larger cell like this one. You can see this one's been center aligned. By default, it's actually at the top, but that can look quite weird when you've got this large gap here. And you can also put it at the bottom, which again looks a bit strange. So centering it, especially for a heading, can look quite nice. Then we've got this option to wrap text, and that's important when you've got text that can go over multiple lines. And wrap text works in cases like this where this bit of text has gone over into the next column. You could simply widen column E here to make it fit, but sometimes you want it to actually go onto the next line, like in this case. And the nice thing is that the cell will automatically, or the row in this case, will automatically resize itself to fit. You can also do things that let you put two lines one on top of each other. So by typing Alt and Enter, and that will put a normal enter or new line into a cell. Whereas if you just press Enter, it will go to a new cell automatically. So Alt and Enter to go to a new line there. Finally, a useful function, which is not, I suppose, formatting, but is useful nonetheless, is called Autofill. When you select a cell, for instance, this one that has the word January in it, Excel knows that February comes after January. So if you select it and then go into the bottom right-hand corner where there's a small green square, you'll get a black cross. And if you click and drag, when you let go, you'll see it autofills in all the names of the month, and this works for days of the week as well. So it's quite useful in that sense that you can fill in days of the week, months of the year, and so on and so forth.